Good morning, Huntington County. Rob Miller, Huntington County Commissioner, District 1. Today we're broadcasting from the beautiful Victory Knoll campus. This is our third podcast in our series for 2025, and today we have a special guest, Dr. Robert Pepper. He is the 14th president for Huntington University. I'd like to welcome you, Rob.
Yeah, it's good to be here.
For folks meeting you for the first time, can you share a little bit about your background and how you landed here in Huntington?
Yeah, so I get that question a lot, which is fun to kind of, go back and think about what brought me to this spot. So I grew up in central New Jersey, right kind of in the suburbs or western suburbs of New York City. So this is really different from where I originally grew up. But for the last 30 plus years, I've been living and serving in central Pennsylvania at Messiah University. Went to then Messiah College, similar to Huntington. It was a college, now it's a university. And started getting involved in education there and studied education. And I was going to be a high school history teacher and coach. That's what I was thinking about doing. And through some mentoring I had there at the university, I learned more about what would it be like to work at a university setting. So I went on to graduate school and got married, and my wife and I stayed right there in central PA, raised our family. So we've been there for over 30 years. And then this summer we moved here to Huntington.
First impressions of the Huntington community. What stood out for you? What when you first got here?
Yeah, so I think there's a little bit of a difference between Huntington City and Huntington University. So I'll answer them both, but there's some threads that are the same. Both communities, like the whole area, the county, the city, the university, just really welcoming and embracing and friendly. Just gracious, welcoming myself and my wife to the community. And, making sure we have what we need and answering questions, being new. That was great. So we felt like a warm embrace and hospitality. Both communities, I feel like as I learn more about the history of Huntington City and also of Huntington College, now university, very innovative and hardworking and willing to face challenges head on. Right. I find that most of the people in this community, they just want to get after it, whatever it is, right? We're going to work hard. We're going to solve these problems. Very much willing to take on challenges with the risks they face. So that's been wonderful to see. I've really enjoyed that aspect.
I'm going to circle back to some local cuisine that is something
sure
that you hadn't been able to experience from your neck of the woods out there in Pennsylvania.
That's right.
I'll let you kind of talk about that.
Right. So it's funny. So growing up in New Jersey, the sandwich of choice where I grew up, it was you either called it Taylor ham or pork roll. So Taylor ham was North Jersey and pork roll was South Jersey. So it's kind of like your bagel sandwich with an egg and cheese and this slice of ham, which is unique to that area. I've never seen it other places. Now, where my wife grew up and where we just been living, so she grew up north of Philadelphia, and we've been living in South Central PA. So there, it's all cheesesteaks.
Yeah, Philly cheesesteak.
Yeah, and I, Rob, not to be offensive, I'm probably not going to order a Philly cheesesteak right around here. Although I do hear there's a good one on 24, close to Roanoke. Haven't been there. But here it's the pork tenderloin.
Right.
I mean, everybody eats that, and I've never had that before, but I did get a chance to judge it at the Big Tenderloin Fest.
I heard that.
Yeah, and it was really good. And I just was at Nick's last week and got it again for lunch. I got the slider, a little smaller portion.
Not the one the size of a dinner plate.
Or bigger than your head or whatever they say, right? No, really good. I've enjoyed that for sure.
Interesting note, our local representative, Senator Andy Zay, he tried a year or two ago to have the Huntington County tenderloin or Nick's Kitchen's tenderloin as the state sandwich, and
nice.
he was unsuccessful because there's a lot of other counties in competition across the state for the bragging rights for that particular sandwich. So he didn't get it done, but I thought that was interesting that he pursued that,
Right.
But
no, that's great. No, so there's those little things that when you move to a new community, you learn about.
Yeah.
And so for sure, the pork tenderloin sandwich is one of them.
So I think this is just my opinion from what I see and just talking to people in general that, your smaller Christian universities really have some significant challenges as far as recruitment and even retainage.
Sure.
So what do you think is is your biggest challenge along those lines?
Sure.
And why is that?
Yeah, I think I was reviewing one of the podcasts you did earlier about, I think it's called Elevate.
Yes, right.
And so in that conversation, you were talking about the demographics of this region of the country. If you go back to 2007, 8, 9, 10, we're now facing what most people in higher education call the enrollment cliff.
Right.
So essentially what that says is people stopped having as many children then. So, 17 to 21 years ago, people are having less children.
Right.
That's impacting the numbers that are graduating from high school. So I think that enrollment cliff is a challenge. And so we're going to have to face that. The cost of education is a challenge.
Yeah.
Private education in particular, with less state and federal funding behind it, it's expensive. So we have to find ways to make school as affordable for those who want to be there as we can. So I think those are challenges. Many Christian colleges, not all, but many Christian colleges are in the suburban and more rural areas.
Right.
There's lots of reasons behind that. Some are sociocultural reasons where some church leaders wanted to move their universities out of cities and into more rural areas for land or for safety or for expansion purposes. So you see that in this section of Indiana. A lot of the schools that we compete with, they're in more of the rural, smaller towns and smaller cities.
Right.
Huntington is in that category.
Right.
And so we have to find ways, in the same way you're trying to avoid what we would call brain drain from your city here.
Right.
We're trying to attract students to come to school here.
Right.
In the same way you want younger professionals to come here and then raise their families. So that will continue to be a challenge. I think one of the things that drew me to Huntington is they're already working on a number of those fronts.
Right.
So we have a campus in Arizona, which is unique to us. We have a partnership with Indiana Tech in Fort Wayne, which is unique. And then we have some online and hybrid programs, which is unique. So we can kind of differentiate some of our revenue, but also add additional students
Right.
who are interested in a place like Huntington, but maybe aren't taking classes right here in Huntington City.
I've noticed, I've kind of watched it from afar, but a couple programs in my opinion, I think you carved out a pretty nice niche is your nursing program, which is, I don't know how long that program's been in place. It's maybe 10 years.
Over 10, yeah.
Over 10.
Yep, just over.
And, there's a big demand for people in the medical profession, professionals, and I thought that was an interesting move by the university to start that program out. But the other one that, there's a couple more, the agricultural piece that you guys have taken into your programs, I think, is it fits because this area, obviously, we're really strong in ag, and I think that's an untapped reservoir of talent that you could potentially get these kids to come to university and get their degrees in ag and the support services that agriculture needs.
Yeah. I mean, I thought that's spot on. The fascinating thing with both of those programs is we didn't go them alone.
Right.
So we have individual partnerships, but also corporate partnerships that help us.
Right.
In the case of nursing, a really strong ongoing relationship with Parkview has helped us.
Yeah.
And being right here in this city with the Parkview campus, right in our backyard. I mean, it's right next to our property.
It's a pipeline.
It's right there.
Yeah.
Right. And so then Parkview has assisted us with this program we have at Fort Wayne. For students who want to go back to school, they have a degree in something else and they want to come back for a second bachelor's degree. That program is in high demand. Actually, we're about ready to graduate, over 30 students in that cohort coming up. And then in ag, we couldn't have done this alone. I mean, the Ag Council, there's a variety of families. The Halpert family has been very much supportive in that. The Heiner family here in Huntington. Ag Plus has been involved in that. Nate Perry has done an excellent job of recruiting students and recruiting partners. And so building out opportunities for students to study, you really need partners on the front end. So that's been I think part of our secret to our success of some of these programs.
I think that I think you're probably one of the few universities that offer that program.
We are,
and so I think that's a really nice. thing, a niche to go after. The other thing I think that has a lot of potential is your digital arts program. It has grown tremendously, and this legislation that was just passed for the film and media credits for these types of projects, I think is really going to be in my opinion, a watershed moment or a shot in the arm for your future plans for the digital and media arts program, which I think has got some tremendous potential there.
Yeah, so that program, again, is a great mix of, we're educating in the liberal arts tradition. So students are growing in their character, they're growing in their critical thinking, they're getting both the knowledge and the kind of expertise that comes with these traditional faith-based liberal arts, but they're also getting highly sought after technical skills that can translate immediately into the world of work. And so these students are able to create, but also get ready with their portfolios to go land positions or be entrepreneurs and start their own businesses. So we're bringing people in from around the country for these big feature films. And I just watched one last night, Tea on the Beach, which is our second one. My wife and I just streamed it on Amazon Prime, and that was an amazing story. Of course, the first one people are familiar with is A Carpenter's Prayer.
Right.
And then looking out the window, we just filmed one here this summer.
Yes, right.
The working title is Overhill Manor. We'll see what they end up naming it at the end. But all that to say, the feature films, the animation, graphic design, those are all strong for us.
Working for over 3 years at Messiah University.
Right.
So what do you think you're going to bring to Huntington University from your 30 years there? What are you going to bring to the table?
Great legacy. I think I learned a lot there. I think when you're in leadership, you learn about things through watching other people and working alongside other people. So I had the crazy fortunate opportunity to work in a lot of different areas there. Student life and retention of students, athletics. I worked in enrollment. I was an undergraduate professor. I was a graduate professor online. I was a dean of a graduate school. And then most recently in university partnerships and innovation. So I've seen a lot of the areas of campus, which has been helpful. I think the thing I bring with me is lessons learned from great leaders that mentored me.
Right.
And a desire to translate that to the next generation of employees, faculty, and also students. So I have a very student-centered approach.
Right.
And what I really hope, Rob, is that students that we invite to come to Huntington and enroll and they attend, that their lives would be transformed, but that they would also graduate from Huntington. I feel like it's our job, if we accept you, that we make it possible for you to complete your degree on our campus.
Right.
So creating all the supports and structures for students to be successful, whether that's in Arizona, up in Fort Wayne, or right here in Huntington. That's really what I'm hoping to do.
Right. A lot of leaders have different management styles. Yeah. How would you characterize your management style?
Yeah, that's tricky. It's only tricky because I've studied this.
Right.
My doctorate's in leadership studies.
Right.
So, when you read a lot about it, you start to analyze yourself all the time. I think I probably have a much more of a situational leadership style where I try to match who I am and what I'm doing and how I'm leading with the needs of the followers. But I also take into account the context. So it's fascinating coming here. You mentioned I was at a previous place for 30 years. What are you going to bring? Well, just because it worked there doesn't mean it's going to work here. So part of onboarding here is really learning this culture and this community and thinking through, well, what would work here and what are the needs here? So I start with 3 questions. What's the problem we're trying to solve?
Right.
How does this impact students? And is there a better way we can do this? So very much open-ended. Hey, we can do this together as a team. And I really want to build a team around me to accomplish the goals that we have.
So Rob, just give me the 30,000-foot view of your strategic plan for Huntington University in the near future.
Yeah,
what's that going to look like?
That's a great question. So I think about 3 views out of a car. when people ask me this question, the first view is the rear view mirror. Where have we been, right? So you're driving down the road, you're looking at where we've been. So I'm getting up to speed on that. I'm feeling pretty good about it. The next view is who's in the seat next to me. I'm driving the car. Who's in the car with me? Right. So I'm learning my team, I'm learning my students, and I'm also learning the needs of this community. So, and then obviously the thing everyone always wants to talk about is the front windshield. Where are we going? Tell me where we're going. Tell me where we're going. Well, I can't really answer that till I know the past and where we are now and a vision for the future. But I will say this, a key to us moving forward at Huntington is to continue to develop partnerships.
Right.
I think we used to say, field of dreams. If we build it, they will come.
Right.
I don't think that's true anymore.
Right.
I think we need to build things with the customer base and the needs of the community in mind. So for me, it's looking at how do we find alignment between what Huntington excels at,
Right.
The needs of the community, and how can we do this in a way that makes sense from a stewardship financial standpoint. So I think we got to have more conversations. Workforce development is important.
Right.
What does Huntington County need? What does Northeast Indiana need?
Right.
How can we make it attractive for our best and brightest students to stay here? So conversations with local high school leaders. How do we convince students who grew up here, who are juniors and seniors in high school, to stay?
Yeah.
Come to Huntington University and then give back to where they grew up.
Right.
That's how we will move this whole region forward.
Right.
In a variety of ways. And then as we attract students from outside the region, what are the incentives here locally that they would say, I had a great experience at Huntington University, I'd like to stay. Here's what I found, Rob, as I come around and meet people. A lot of the nonprofits here, a lot of the business leaders and owners, a lot of the civic servants and leaders in this region, they're either one or two steps removed from the university.
Mm-hmm.
They either went here, their spouse went here, they have a cousin who went here, their next door neighbor, they're good friends. So I think the future of Huntington County and the future of Huntington University, there's this symbiotic relationship.
Right.
And we need to continue to lean into that and figure that out.
It's interesting that you touched on that. My favorite saying is, we're all eating out of the same trough.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
And so because we're eating out of the same trough, there's only a finite number of resources there.
Yes.
Money, fundraising opportunities. Yes. And so when we can consolidate and, like you said, have those relationships and those partnerships, we really can get that synergy we need to get things done, because we're not flush with cash like all small communities. And so if we can work together, that's really going to make this community move forward. I think that's an important part that you're talking about.
Right. I know you've been thinking through, and we've all been thinking through, what are the needs here? And I think one of the things that's popped up recently in my mind is just education and childcare needs, right?
Yes. Right.
So how do we think through, how can Huntington University be part of that solution?
Right.
So we got to find ways to invite ourselves to the table or create a new space and invite other people to say, what can we do to help?
Right. Yeah.
I don't know what that looks like, but
a lot of challenges.
Yeah, there are a lot of challenges.
I mean, all small communities that we're faced in, like we were talking earlier, small universities, all similar challenges.
Yes.
And so you have to be unique in how you attack those and address those, and figure out a way to attract, like you said, the talent and make people want to stay here and put roots down in this community. How can the Huntington community support Huntington University?
Sure.
What can we do?
Yeah, I mean, I think if you haven't been on campus, show up.
Right.
One of the things which is intriguing to me is, students talk about our university as being a bubble, and community people talk about the university as being kind of in the city, but not really part of it. It's kind of separate. And we're not a gated community. We're open to the public. I would encourage people to come to events, come play disc golf on our campus.
Right.
Find out when the next arts event is. Come to a home athletic event.
Right.
Be involved as much as you can or as you're interested in. And I would say we have an open door. And so come be part of what we're doing and maybe learn about it for the first time. And if you are an alum and if you are committed to it and if it's made an impact on you, This is maybe the call to action a little bit, right?
Sure.
So we have the Huntington University Foundation, led by a variety of local business leaders and individuals in the community. They specifically raise money that gets set aside for Huntington students to come to Huntington University.
Right.
So that's a great way to help out.
It is.
If you want to help, I mean, they say, you know, put your money where your mouth is. But,
Right.
you know, every dollar goes directly to support really Huntington North students
Right.
who are choosing to come to Huntington University.
Right.
So we can keep that cost of education low. And we have students who come up to me on campus all the time and say, thank you for what you're doing. Because you're out raising money, I have a scholarship and now I can attend university. And some of them didn't think it was possible.
Right.
So I think those are some things. And then let us know what we can do to be better.
Right.
Don't be afraid to, you know, if you're all sitting around your kitchen table saying, I wish they would do this. Well,
Right.
we don't know. So come tell us and hopefully we can respond.
If you look back at 20 years from now, what do you hope that your legacy at Huntington University would help to build?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think as leaders, we're always thinking about our legacy, right? Of course, you know, we want to have a thriving campus. Maybe there'll be some new facilities, all that. But for me, why am I in this, right? Why do I do this? I think it's about lives changed. And so, you know, we've got lakes all over Indiana. So people are used to this image of the ripple effect when you throw a rock into a water, you know, you get the rings, right? So I would like to see how far can that impact be? How far can what we're doing at Huntington University impact the world?
Right.
Where are our graduates serving? Where are they leading? How many lives have we changed because of the good work we've done on campus here, what we're doing in Arizona, the impact we can have in the larger Fort Wayne community? How many more students can we serve? But are we graduating people of high character, of unbelievable competencies that have the skills that the world needs? And are we impacting the world for the good, for the common good? And certainly as a Christian university, I would love to see more students deepen their faith.
Right.
And so in 20 years, if you say, well, Rob, was it worth it? I would say, look at our product, and our product is our graduates.
Right.
What are our graduates doing? Here's all the things they're doing. Here's all the areas of society they're impacting. And if I can feel good about what that looks like, I would say, yeah, my time here was well spent.
Rob, appreciate you.
Yes,
Appreciate
thank
taking
you.
Time. I know you're a busy guy. Taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to us today, and I'm sure you and I will be talking.
Yes,
soon.
absolutely. We love it.
Thank you
Love
so
it. You're
much.
always welcome on campus.
Thank you.
All right.